Hello, hello, and happy Sunday, everyone. I am still trying to get my technology together, and I am going to ask for your patience for just a couple more minutes. There we go. See, right? That's what I meant. All right, we got to get this technology together. Okay. All right. Hey friends. Hey friends. Welcome in. Happy Sunday. Let me know really quickly before we do anything else. First order of business, please let me know that the sound is okay. Because I am working with multiple tabs open here. And I just want to make sure that the audio, I can see everything on my end is looking how I want it to look visually, but I do want to make sure that the sound is sounding correctly. Thank you, Pete. Thank you. Sound is working. I came on here a few minutes ago, but I came in through like the regular TikTok way, and I knew that I had this presentation that I wanted to share with y'all. I had some visual aids that I wanted to be able to present with y'all. So here we are. I'm excited as well. I've been working on this presentation and talking about this presentation for at least a couple days anyways. And so I know people are still going to come in. I understand how that works. And so I will continue to welcome people as they are coming in intermittently, but I want to go ahead and get started and at least tell the reason of why we are here today. So basically for the next 90 minutes, y'all, we are going to be in this space and I want to invite you to come in with openness and with willingness and really just to be present. Okay, so if you are entering the session just now, please go ahead and drop something in the comments. You can write present, you can write attending. Okay, I want this time together to be interactive, and so just a little conversational about our time together here. And it's just a small action that shows me your willingness to engage here. Okay, I do want to let you know that this is a safe space. This is a judgment free space. We're all here to learn and grow. And yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. So, we are going to be going deep and exploring some things within ourselves today. We're going to be talking about personal growth, areas of personal growth. And I feel like if you're here, obviously, this is something that you need in your life right now. So, again, y'all know how what's her name? Shara 7. Y'all know how she'll say sprinkle, sprinkle. So when y'all hear me say sparkle, sparkle, go ahead and drop my favorite emoji, those little sparkles in the comments for me. And again, just a sign of your willingness to be here and y'all helping me to co-create this space so that it's not just me up here talking by myself the entire. I see you, and I appreciate you. We also got some people over on YouTube. So welcome to my on YouTube coming in. Let's go kind of okay, so we got another welcome here. And I had an official welcome period here before we get started again, even for those that are coming in, popping in over on YouTube. Welcome 90 Days to Becoming Her. It starts with you. And before we even get started, I want y'all to know this is not just a one time event. Okay. Becoming her is a journey. And today I've designed this interactive workshop so we can all reclaim our power, rediscover our worth, and really focus on what truly matters, which is us, ourselves. Okay. Again, over the next 90 minutes, we're going to dive into a discussion about energy. That is primarily what we're going to be talking about today. And if you follow me on TikTok or really any social platform, you know I'm an energy girly. So today I'm going to share some nuggets on energy and how we can use our energy to become the person that we want to be, the woman that we want to be, and live the life that we want to live, right? So yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about that. We're going to be talking a little bit about the science of affirmations today, and we are going to end this workshop with a guided visualization practice to help you connect with your best self. Okay. And I want to take advantage of our time together. And let's see. For my people over here on YouTube and people that are just coming in, popping in on TikTok, stay a while, drop a little something in the comments to let me know that you are here. I appreciate your energy and I appreciate your presence. And again, I want this to be an interactive space. So if you are just dropping in on either one of these platforms, let me know that you're here by just writing present in the comments. You drop either the word present to let me see your presence, or drop one of those little sprinkle one of those little sparkle emojis in the comments. Those are my favorites. As we are moving on, as we are moving on and are y'all seeing the slides change? P, are you seeing, or are y'all still seeing becoming her on the slide? I feel like, did I know that there's a delay in here, but I can the slides change, or is it just something on my end? P, what are you seeing on your end? What screen are you seeing on your end? The welcome screen? And that was my bad. I feel like I had uh a little glitch over here on my end, but it should be at this welcome stage right here. Okay, yeah, that's the welcome stage. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know and keeping me on my toes, P. I told you I'm working with all these different tabs. So I want to make sure that we're seeing what we need to see. So we've gone through the welcome. Now kind of a little bit about like why we are here. So where two or more are gathered, the whole is more than the sum of its parts. And P, I know you have this book. We've talked about this before, A Happy Pocket Full of Money. And in the book, I've been rereading this book again. I actually just finished it yesterday, so I probably may go back through it even one more time. But this is one of the quotes in the book, and it reminds me of the Bible verse where two or more are gathered, God is in the midst. So in the book, the quote reads, where two or more are gathered, the whole is more than the sum of its parts. And I like that because, thinking about that, it was the definition of a mastermind to me. And basically it's saying that when two or more are gathered, the whole, the collective, is more than each individual. And so, I wanted to create this space of a collective, of a mastermind, right? At this time, I also want to start by setting an intention for our time together. So if you have a journal or a notebook handy, I want you to just think about what it is that you hope to gain today. And if you feel so inspired to share, please let me know what it is that you want to get out of this time to get today. Just curious, and feel free to share as much or as little as you wish. My intention for our time together is simply that something during our time together today impacts you in a positive way. That is always my intention when I come on live. And so again, if anyone wants to share in the comments, just write down what you hope to gain from this session today. And if I just popped up on your FYP and you're like, well, I don't know, I'm just curious, what even is this? Then feel free to write that as well. There are no right or wrong answers here. This is a safe space. Okay. And I want to make sure that I am creating a space for you to connect with your inner self today. And I hope that at this time you are kind of tucked away so you won't be distracted, and you can use this time to check in with yourselves. Okay. So I feel like I've done a lot of talking. Are y'all ready to get into it? All right. All right. Let's go ahead and keep things moving along here. Dinner is Deja. For those of you who don't know, I go by the real Black Carrie Bradshaw. And I'm an author, I'm a blogger, I am a content creator, and that's just a little bit about me. Of course, you can look on my bio, or really, if you just kind of even just go through my profile, I feel like that is representative kind of who I am. Not in totality, but definitely a glimpse into like who I am. But enough about me. Okay. I really want to share more about what to expect today in this class over the next 90 minutes. And so I want to begin by answering the question, how did we get here? Okay. And so maybe like you, a few weeks ago, the great lock in was all over my timeline. The great lock in, um, the winter arc, right? And something about this movement, y'all, just resonated with me. Like it was like I felt like my higher self was saying to me, D, this is your lane. This is your lane, this is your gift, and this is your time. And I felt like, it's time for me to share my story of how affirmations and positive thoughts, after a traumatic breaking journey, and helped to heal me and really showed me how to take pain from the loss of a relationship and turn it into purpose. So that is why I feel like I'm here. I truly feel like, my story is not different from anybody else's. In fact, my story is probably very similar to many of yours, right? I know on a personal level that it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter how successful you are, it doesn't matter how many degrees you have, right? How good of a person you are. There are certain things in life, a breakup in particular, that feeling of rejection that really can take a toll on you if you let it. And for some women who feel emotions deeply, such as myself, it can affect your mental health and just things like that. And I've been transparent. I've shared my journey with y'all before, and so that was pretty much it. And so I really wanted other women to know that, like, whether you're just getting out of a relationship or even if you're not, maybe you have just noticed a shift in yourself, in your personality, in your confidence level, in your energy level. I want you to know that the way to feel better is to focus on you and to become her. Okay. So that is why I am here. Okay. Again, my intention is to make a shift and a pivot in your mindset. And again, that is what I want from our time together. Okay. Oh, deep breath. All right. So now let's go ahead and move on to the next part of the presentation. I told y'all we're going to be talking about energy today, right? So I want to start by asking another question, or really just pivoting to the first topic that we're going to be talking about with a question. Okay. What are thoughts? What are thoughts? And of course, there are no right or wrong answers, right? But I'm just curious to know, how do you define your thoughts? How do you interpret the idea of thoughts, right? And so, yeah, I've got quite a few um ideas or words here on the screen that are representative, at least to me, about what thoughts are. So some people may um consider thoughts to be, feelings or concepts, or ways of thinking or perceptions, or a lot of different ways that we can kind of interpret the word thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. There is one word on this screen, however, that, at least to me, encompasses all of them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, yeah, energy. I like the word energy, and again, right? I'm an energy girly, okay? So, again, we're thinking about how to interpret the idea of thoughts through feelings, through emotions. All of these are good responses, right? But something about that word energy is all encompassing to me, right? Okay, right. So, words, when I think about thoughts, the first thing I think that probably popped into my head was words, right? And words and affirmations are a powerful source of energy. Okay. Okay. So, this is where we're going to begin. We're going to begin with energy. Now, the next question, an even bigger question, y'all, if we can get it to go to the next slide, what is energy? Okay. So, not to get too technical, but there are different types of energy. Okay. And this is important. So I want to share just a little bit. And again, not to get too technical, but there are different types of energy. Okay. Um, Kinetic energy is, you can think of things that are moving. Okay. Thermal energy, you can probably guess, is, heat or things being warm. Sound energy, that encompasses vibrations. Light and solar energy obviously encompass things that shine. Then we also have nuclear and chemical energy. So that's things exploding, things going off, which is really what our internal body functions are. They're kind of like, you can kind of think of them as nuclear energy. And then we have potential energy, right? Okay. So energy is not created or destroyed. That is, what is it, Newton's first law of thermodynamics, that energy is neither created or destroyed. If you remember from science class, probably high school science classes, that um, there's the idea that there is a certain total amount of energy that exists in the universe, okay? And it's not created or destroyed. It is simply transferred from one object to the next, okay? And just because, for example, an object is bigger than another object, it doesn't mean that it has more energy, okay? So think of a big ball and think of a little ball. One may look at those two objects and automatically assume, just because this object is bigger, because this ball is bigger, it has more energy. That is not necessarily the case, okay? It could be that one of those objects has more momentum. It could be that, one of the balls has more speed. So there are certain factors that influence energy. But what I want you to understand is that we're all made of the same energy source. Okay. And it's our job to learn how to use our energy to our benefit. Okay. All right. Um, Moving on, I want to talk a little bit about what exactly energy is, okay? Because I've given you kind of like some definitions. Well, not definitions, I've kind of given you some, kind of like describe the types of energy that exist. But what exactly is energy? What exactly is energy? Mm. Hold on, I'm trying to go back up to you what you said, P. Not a camera. I did a video about that actually, P. Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a good way to think about it. Um, Getting back to energy. Energy is the building blocks of all matter. Okay. And you may be looking at that like, okay, well, what does that actually mean? Well, let me break it down for you. Okay. Your body, my body, all of us are made of tissues and organs. Okay. Well, what are tissues and organs made of? Well, tissues and organs are made of cells. Okay. Okay. What are cells made of? See where I'm going here? Cells are made of molecules. Okay. All right, D. Well, what are molecules made of? Here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. Molecules are made of subatomic particles. Okay. What's the next question? What are these subatomic particles made of? Mhm. Well, and I don't expect you to know this. I said I'm going to take you back to high school science just a little bit. So, we're here to learn. Uh, Again, feel free to engage as much or as little as you feel comfortable. And I'm just going to give you a refresher because I know you know this. I know that deep down inside, you know this either from your knowledge or from some other part of you that knows this information. Subatomic particles are made of protons, neutrons. Okay. Do we all agree? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the $1 million question is, what are these subatomic particles made of? Feel like the obvious answer is going to be, well, subatomic particles, they got to be made up of energy, right? Kind of, but not exactly. Okay. Subatomic particles are not made of energy, they are energy. Okay. They are energy. And if you break them down, if you observe them, and scientists have, done this in studies to show that when you observe and examine these subatomic particles, they're mostly made up of inner empty space. And it's really just vibrational frequencies or vibrations moving at a frequency. And that is what energy is. Does that make sense? That is what it is. Subatomic part. So essentially, the same tissues and organs that you're made up of are literally made up of mostly nothing. Okay. Now, let's take it a step further. Okay. Y'all still with me? Okay. Thank you, friend. I see you and I appreciate you being here. Let's take it a step further. Okay. Physical comes from non-physical form. Okay. Mm-hmm. So basically, now that we know that everything from the air that we breathe to the water that we drink to the cell phone devices we are probably holding in our hand or looking at right now, and even down to our physical bodies themselves are made up of the same building blocks of protons, neutrons, and electrons, which we now know and have been reminded of as subatomic particles that are 99.99% empty space. So then it's fair to say, from a scientific perspective, is actually made up, everything that is physical is actually made up of non-physical energy. Did y'all get that? Yes. Yes, P. Yes, Venus. I'm gonna say it again. Everything that we see in the physical is actually made up from non-physical energy. So, in terms of manifestation, then, this is scientific proof that physical form takes place from the non physical. And so, if you want the physical to change, you have to change your non physical first, meaning your thoughts, your words, and your frequency. Okay? Do y'all get that? Y'all following what I'm saying? So that's science. And I know that, people can appreciate science. I also know that, people can also appreciate scripture, right? So the Bible even tells us in Genesis 1 and 3 that God said, let there, in the beginning, there was nothing, there was a void, right? And God said, let there be light. And y'all know how the rest of the story go. Bible scholars. No, seriously. Y'all know the story of creation, right? Y'all also know, I'm pretty sure, Proverbs 18 and 21 says life and death are in the power of the tongue. And Psalms 33 and 9 says, for he spoke it and it was done. It was commanded and it stood fast. So, as an entity that is created in the likeness of God, okay, your words are just as powerful. And if you believe that, then you need to be more intentional with your words, okay? If you want to start feeling better, then start speaking better. If you want to start feeling better about your situation, start changing how you talk about it. And I don't mean just the words that you say out loud. Yeah, those are important, but also the ones that are in your head. Okay, your subconscious. Be mindful of your thoughts, because those thoughts and those words that you really need to start paying attention to in your subconscious mind. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but that is what keeps you feeling the way you're feeling, you know? And we got to start bringing awareness to our unconscious thoughts, those thoughts and behaviors and those ways of thinking that are automatic, so um so that we can change our physical states. Does that make sense, y'all? Okay. Mm. Venus, I'm actually studying neurolinguistic programming right now as well. Yeah, internal state of being. I love that you said that. Okay. Okay. So I've been doing some content lately on programming. Okay. Um, and just to simplify it, conscious versus unconscious thoughts, are conscious thoughts are the ones that are deliberate, are awake thinking. Unconscious are those ones that are kind of, I don't want to say unseen, but I guess autopilot is a better way to to say it. Okay, so for example, right, when you first learned to drive, you had to actively pay attention to things like easing your foot off the pedal, and giving it a little gas, right? You had to take time to adjust your mirrors and look in your blind spots, etc. And now when you get in the car, because you've done it for so long, you don't have to put in as much mental energy now, because your brain has streamlined the process of driving, right? And your body can basically drive a car without your brain having to concentrate on it. Does that make sense? Mhm. Mhm. This is because your brain is hardwired to drive a car. So, now you feel like you can listen to music, you can talk on the phone. Some of us even feel like we can send a quick text message at the same time as we're driving, because we don't have to think about driving the car. Does that make sense? Our brains, our unconscious thoughts, we know how to drive a car. Mhm. Yeah. So, that is exactly how your brain works when it comes to other daily habits and routines, right? So, this is one reason why people get stuck. This is why people get stuck in a rut, because they're running on autopilot. Think about it this way, okay? Tomorrow's Monday. I'm assuming people may have to go to work. What does a typical Monday look like for you? I would be willing to bet that you probably wake up around the same time. You wash your face, brush your teeth, get dressed, go get breakfast, or stop at your regular place to get breakfast or coffee, whatever it is. You probably take the same route to work every day. Then, you go to work, you do your job, then you get in the car and you take the same route home, unless, of course, there's some traffic or something, you have to take an alternate route, but for the majority of your day, it's a routine. It's a routine. And as good as your intentions may be to create a new habit, such as going to the gym, or I don't know, doing content or working on your side business or whatever it is, as good as your intentions may be to do those things, it is going to be an uphill battle for people, because while it sounds good to say, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym when I get off, that sounds good. But the truth of the matter is that it's way easier for your unconscious mind to rationalize reasons not to go to the gym, right? It's easier to go home and relax because you've had a long day, right? Or is it just me? If it's just me, then just say it's just me. But I'd be willing to bet that for most people, it is easier for our unconscious mind to convince us that we'll double up tomorrow, right? Listen, your unconscious mind is so clever. It will say to you, well, I'm going to just go home and just relax today because this is self care. And some days, going home to watch your favorite reality show with a snack is self care, but not every day, y'all. Not every day. So if you find yourself doing nothing more than you are doing something, some kind of action to get you closer to your desired intentions, then it's time for you to decide to take action. It's time for you to start paying attention to your thoughts, okay? Now, I know the sentiment. I know what's on your mind. I know what you're probably thinking, but it's hard. I get that. I get that. I get that. I have so many thoughts. How am I supposed to pay attention to my thoughts? I'm not doing all that. I get it. I get it. Listen, the inner work that is actually required to reprogram your mind will always be a challenge in the beginning. But isn't anything that's worth it? Okay. And again, here's why investing in self care in a way that makes you a better person is exactly why you are here today in this presentation. hmm I know a lot of times, um, women feel like self-care, it just kind of, and I feel like we're getting better about this now, but especially when I feel like the self-care movement just started. Oh, it was all about something physical. I get my hair and my nails done every 2 weeks, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Personally, me personally, I like to think of self care as personal development. I take webinars, I take online classes. I took a manifestation course about a month ago and it was amazing. And this was actually one of the things, this class right here today was actually one of the things that I manifested in that class because I was so inspired by it. I learning about. So how to become more emotionally intelligent and how to be more patient in certain situations. I'm learning how to go from an anxious attachment to a secure love attachment style, y'all. I am learning more about the way I communicate. And most importantly, I'm learning exactly what it is that I want in my life. And that's another reason why, I created this presentation today. Okay. Let me come over here because I feel like I'm talking a lot. And again, I want to make sure that I am engaging with you all. So, um let's bump it up a little bit forward here, okay? I just want to we were talking about conscious thoughts and unconscious thoughts and how to uh be more aware of your, unconscious behaviors, because if we are going to become her, if we are going to step into this new identity, this new version of the woman that we want to be, it's going to take some work. It's going to take us interrupting that unconscious, those subconscious thoughts, right? So, I have a couple of examples I want to talk through today. All right. I just always kind of use the example of skipping the gym just because at one point I feel like that was one of my goals. And not to say that it's not one of my goals. A healthier lifestyle is one of my goals. I don't know if I'm gonna go to the gym type girly. That just may be where we are right now. So, anyways, going back to the example, it's Monday, you get off work and you say to yourself, or at the beginning of the day, you say to yourself, hey, I'm going to go to the gym today. At the end of the day, however, your thought, your brain, your unconscious tells you, I am too tired to go to the gym today. So we're going to notice it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to name it. This is something I've been learning to do more of when I have negative thoughts. And I did a video about this a few weeks ago, and it used these same kind of ideas, these same concepts. So, first of all, uh, I want to make sure I stay on track here. And I should have put a slide in for this. Change, I learned when I was getting my coaching certificate that there's a formula for change. For people who want to change, there's an actual formula. And I don't have a slide for it, but change, in order to create change, you have to have two things. And see me. In order to, I don't want to be the big person, I want to be the little person. All right. In order for change to happen, you need two things. You need awareness and you need willingness. So, when we're thinking about these unconscious thoughts, the first thing that we have to do, we want to notice it. We want to become aware of it. So that's the first step, awareness, noticing it. Again, if the thought or the behavior change that we want to create is going to the gym, let's first notice and recognize the thought when it comes in, when it enters, of not wanting to go to the gym. Okay. So we're going to notice that. Then we're going to name it. Okay. We're going to say out loud, hey, this is, this is, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I don't like using the word laziness, but let's just say you just call it out. Hey, this is my subconscious talking. This is my autopilot telling me to stay in my comfort zone. This is another part of myself that wants to stay in my comfort zone. So you don't even have to name it laziness per se. Just name it. Okay? So after you name it, this is what we're going to do next. We're going to take one small intentional action. So you don't have to go all the way to the gym. Okay? Take 5 minutes and just put your workout clothes on. Just put on the workout clothes. That's it. Hopefully, sometimes one small action will lead to another action, inspired action. And that may look like walking around the block. That may look like turning on YouTube and just doing a little at home, thing. It may just look like putting on your clothes for the rest of the day. That's it. And maybe being more aware of looking at your watch to see how many steps you're getting in. Okay. The key is once you break the pattern with a small action, your brain learns new autopilot options. And so, y'all, I talk about neuroplasticity all the time. That is literally how it happens. You notice it, you name it, and you create one or you take one small action. It's as simple as that. And be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself, show yourself some grace. Okay. Okay. So I have another example I want to talk through here. Anybody struggle with procrastination or is it just me? mm, mm-hmm. Yep. You're right, Venus. So that's another way that you can name it. The ego will always do what it's comfortable doing based on past behaviors. You sound like you know a little bit about this, Venus. Absolutely, exactly right. So, procrastination, I know I'm not the only one, right? You get off work, you say to yourself, or you think to yourself, you know what? I know I'm supposed to work on my business, tonight. I know I'm supposed to create some content tonight. I know I'm supposed to study tonight or whatever it is that you're supposed to do, but I'm not in the mood. I had a long day, I'm just not in the mood. Okay. Name it. What is that voice? What is that voice that's telling you that? Is that your ego? I mean, and true enough, yeah, it may be that you're tired, but that's one version of you. And then again, I said this in a video that I made the other day. Start operating from the perspective of your higher self. So yeah, you may be tired and that may be the version of you, your current version. What would your higher self do? Even on the days that she's tired, even on the days, and I always use Beyonce because I love Beyonce. Beyonce shows up. Beyonce don't feel like showing up, singing, dancing every day. Her and Jay-Z be getting into it. He be getting on her nerves. She got kids. She's normal. She's human like us. Beyonce shows up. You know what I'm saying? Um, so again, name it. What part of yourself is saying that to you? What part of you wants you to delay? You don't have to call it, you know what I'm saying? Some people say call a spade a spade. If that works for you, do what works for you. I like to take a gentle approach. So I would say that is my subconscious talking because it wants me to delay. The next thing I'm going to do is take one action now. That might look like, opening up my laptop and writing one sentence, you know, but that one sentence may turn into a brainstorm of more ideas. It may turn into an outline. And I don't have to do the whole paper today. And this was something that I struggled with when I was in school, y'all. My One of my professors told me make it a habit to write every day because at the end of the program you're going to have to defend this thesis that you're doing, so get in the habit of writing something every day. And y'all, I am a natural writer, so I was like, oh, this is going to be easy, it's not going to be a problem for me. And guess what? Life happened. That actually happened to be the year when I went through my breakup and found out I was pregnant and miscarried my pregnancy at the same time during the course of me working on my master's degree and trying to defend a thesis, you know? Um, so life happened. And so I wasn't inspired every single day to write. I think he said write for an hour, or maybe it wasn't even a whole hour. Maybe he was just, start small. So I'm gonna say he told us 30 minutes. Well, if I know that all I have to do is sit in front of this computer for 30 minutes, open up my laptop, give myself 30 minutes. In the course of me sitting there for 30 minutes, some part of my brain is going to feel like, well, I don't want this time to be in vain. So let's see, what can you come up with? What can you brainstorm? And sometimes that led into the inspiration or the motivation of me writing something really amazing that day. And some days it led to me writing out bullet points and coming up with an outline of something that I could work on the next day. So start small and be nice to yourself. Every action um counts. Every action counts. Yeah. Change begins with a choice. Everything today. What we want to be doing is interrupting that autopilot with one action. Now, the action part, heavy on the action part, because the awareness is going to be in the mind. The will, okay? Okay. So, every choice we make rewires the brain, reprograms the brain, and it builds momentum. Okay. Are y'all still with me? Yes. Yes. Good for you, Venus. I see you saying you love learning and teaching. And yeah, the old self and the current self doesn't want to change. I literally did a video on this just the other day that said your current self can't show up because how did I say it? Your current self can't show up because no, your future self can't show up because your current self is still in the way. And until your current self gets out of the way, your future self is she gonna keep being wherever she is. Unless we start becoming more intentional with our actions. And because we're all here present today, um, I know that all of us at least have the intention to do that. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to the next slide here. Sound, energy, and affirmations. Y'all know affirmations are like some of my favorite types of energy. Okay. Yep. So a few slides back, we talked about the different types of energy, and I wanted to come back to sound waves. Okay. Because again, y'all know I'm the queen of affirmations and the science of affirmations. And if you have ever attended one of my lives, then some of this may be familiar to you. Okay. But yeah, we know that sound waves are not visible to the naked eye. And while they can't be seen, they can be felt. Does anybody know waves cannot be seen, not with the naked eye, at least. They can't be seen, but they can be felt. Does anybody know why or how sound waves are felt? Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. We can't see sound waves with the naked eye, but we can feel them, right? Because they're vibrations. Sound waves are vibrations, and we know that we ourselves are matter vibrating, albeit, we vibrate at a much slower and lower frequency than sound wave. But y'all know how I told y'all earlier that we're all made up of the same things. So even sound, right? Yeah. Yeah. Then the reason why I put this slide in here, the reason why this is important is because I've said before, words are energy. Energy that we can use to manifest our best selves, to manifest our desires, to manifest our dreams, right? Um, but their vibrational frequencies. I don't know if y'all can hear it now. Y'all will, I'm gonna play it a little bit louder in a few minutes, but I have some 432 hertz playing in the background. And I go to sleep. I've told y'all before, sometimes I will put on certain frequencies. Even if I'm not going to sleep, I mostly have them playing throughout the day just because I find personally that it calms me. It helps to put me in a different state. It helps to, I feel like, elevate my vibration sometimes. And listen, even not just, let me come back over here. Even not just, even, I don't want to make myself big. Even not just frequencies, but like music, like Beyonce makes me feel like Renaissance makes, raises my vibration. When I went to see her, and I told y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like the energy in that place, music, those vibrations has the capability to change how you feel. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So all sound is made up of the same things, right? Energy. Okay. Um, but specifically the 432 hertz and certain other frequencies, they can prime your subconscious to different states like or theta or delta brain waves, which can also be very good practices if you are trying to manifest something specifically, or if you just want to relax and de-stress after a long day, right? So, yeah, we can't see these waves, but we can feel them. Our bodies and our words also vibrate at different frequencies. After affirmations and sound frequencies can shift brain waves, and certain tones can support relaxation, focus, and manifestation. Your words, the energy of your words combined with the right frequency can be powerful tools for reprogramming your subconscious. Okay. 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 And you don't have to memorize these here. But I did want to briefly share some common healing frequencies with you before we get into, which is going to take us into our visualization practice. I just wanted to share these frequencies with y'all. And again, you don't have to memorize them, but you just notice how each frequency has a different effect. Okay. Same way, like I said, different music can hype you up or calm you down. Certain tones can prime your subconscious for healing, for focusing, for manifesting, for spiritual growth. Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. And now I'm excited to share something else with y'all. Now, this wasn't the slide that I really wanted to have, but it is what it is. I should have changed it, but then I was just like, no, just keep it because I didn't feel like thinking about what I actually wanted. But now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, hey, this actually does kind of it does kind of encompass the visualization activity that I want to lead us into. I do feel like I have been talking a lot. So before we get into this activity, I want to just take a pause and see if anyone has any questions or any comments so far. Let me take a look at my YouTube people there. Um, okay, y'all quiet. That's okay. That's okay. I see here. Oh, Venus, you throwing out some words. I'm gonna have to look up language semantics. I've never heard of semantics, but I will look up language semantics. Interesting. Oh, through the senses. Okay, okay. And yep, theta and alpha states are the best to reprogram your subconscious. First, wake up in the morning and you're kind of in that little foggy, dreamlike state. That's in theta brainwave state. The same thing just before you drift off and fall asleep. So that is why I go to sleep listening to certain affirmations lately. And I feel like this changes from week to week, but lately I have been listening to them in my own voice because y'all know how I get on here and do you affirmations. Y'all know how I get on here and do you affirmations. Well, that's what I you affirmations all, and they are for y'all. I say them because I hear it as my higher voice. And if you've been on here, like I said, P, this is nothing new to you. You know that I've said this before, but I do feel like it's my higher self speaking to me. And again, just before, I go to sleep at night, I put in one earbud and I listen to my affirmations because I know I'm getting ready to go to sleep. And I know that my brain is going to be in theta brainwave state, which is prime time some old beliefs. Yeah. So, nugget there. Are y'all ready to connect with your higher self? Yes. Yes. Okay. So, I do have some 852 hertz playing in the background. And I hope that y'all can hear it. And the reason I'm not going to share the screen is because, and I guess I could do that, but I don't want the audio to glitch. We have come this far. So I want to go out. I want to go out on a high note with no glitches. We have done well so far. So are y'all ready to move into this visualization activity? Yes, I hope so. I hope so. Um, I really do want to just close this session with something short, guided visualization. And let me see. Would y'all like to know where I got this visualization practice from? Well, I'm looking for the book and I don't see it. So I guess I won't share the book right now. But and what's crazy is I bought this book, read this book 5, if not 10 years ago. And just this past summer, Oprah was interviewing the author. I'm just like, really, Oprah? How I've been on this? Like, how I know about this and you just and not to say it like that, but I know this process, the Hoffman process, has been around for a long time, and that Oprah had picked it up and was kind of spotlighting it this summer. Synchronicities, So, in any event, I do want to lead us in this, like I said before, this short, guided visualization. I want this to be a chance for you to connect with your best self, the woman that you want to become by the end of this year. And so, this is an opportunity to tap into her energy, into her mindset, and to tap into to her state of being. So if y'all are ready, I want to Start by just taking it, reset your energy, set an intention if you like, and now I want you to imagine yourself walking down a path. Or you can imagine yourself walking anywhere. You can be walking on the beach, somewhere that's really serene and peaceful. Walking along this path, there's another person who's also on this same path. And as you're getting closer to this person, you notice that it's you. This is the woman that you are becoming by the end of this year. I want you to take a look at her. Just notice everything and anything that you notice about this version of yourself. This her next level. How does she carry herself? What does her posture say? What do you see in her eyes? No judgment. There's no right or wrong answers here. I just want you to notice this version of this woman who is you. Now imagine that she's standing right in front of you and she's smiling because she's proud. This person, this woman, she believes in you because she knows that you are capable of everything you've been dreaming of. Look directly at her. And now I want you to ask yourself, ask your higher self this question. What do I need to focus on right now to become you? You may hear words. You may not hear words. You may see an image, or it may just be a feeling. Just notice what comes up. Whatever comes up is exactly what you need right now. Take another deep breath. I want you to feel her energy merging with yours as if she is stepping inside you, because she is. She's not separate from you. She is you. And she's just waiting for you to fully step into her and align with her. When you're ready, you can slowly bring your awareness back to your space. And when you're ready, when it feels right, take a deep breath and open your eyes. Friends, hmm, oh, how did that feel? Emotional? Okay, it's okay. I needed that. I needed that. So, still trying to find that book, or I'm still keeping my eyes open for that book. It must be in my other room back there, one of those rooms back there, but that visualization, like I said, was from the Hoffman process. And I do that every now and then. And it doesn't even have to be as that. Um, Chat GPT helped me actually come up with a different visualization technique. I was having a day, one day, and it was like the end of the day, and I just kind of felt like, geez, this was not my best day. I don't feel like I connected with my best self. And so Chat GPT helped me come up with a visualization technique where it was the end of the day. Get in bed, shower, do whatever. It's the end of the day. And when you get in bed, imagine that your higher self is sitting at the edge of your bed. And she's there, she's looking at you, she's smiling. And it was kind of that prompt, what does my higher self want me to know about today? What does she want me to know? Yeah, not even about tomorrow, because tomorrow is the future, right? In the present moment, what does my higher self want me to know in this moment about where I am? And I don't remember, oh, I do remember what went on that day. And I remember my higher self was just like, girl, don't even trip. That's what my higher self told me. It was me. And she was like, girl, don't even trip. You are good. Okay. She's like, you tripping for nothing. And I was like, thank you. you know? Yeah, that is like kind of where I am in my journey, in my process. Like literally being aware that my higher self, she's a part of me. She's not far away. Yeah, she, you know, does different things, and she exists differently. Like some of the things that she sees and experiences are different than what I currently see and experience, but I can tap in, I can I can tap into her knowledge and the things that she knows. I need to know, what do I need something with you. You have everything that you need already inside you. Like that higher version is not separate from you. It's a part of you. Well, how do you think she got there? She she knows. She knows. And so it's just a matter of being self-aware, being intentional, being thoughtful, and being consistent. So, yeah, that felt really good. That felt really good. So, I appreciate you for being here as always, P. Um, I don't know if I'm gonna this is I can't make this into a recording, so I don't know if this will be something that I will share on YouTube, or I don't know if you're on my email list. More than likely I'll go to my emails. I'm missing some people, missing some of my number ones. You are definitely literally my number one today. But yeah, yeah. Next Sunday, P, next Sunday, I'm gonna do this again. I don't know if it will be a refresher of this or if I will have a whole new topic to discuss. Probably going to be a new topic because we got 90 days to becoming her. And so there are different pillars that we want to be hitting. And I want to make sure that I'm continuing to add value and hopefully knowledge that you don't know. So, yeah, next Sunday, P, we'll be right here again. I appreciate your patience and your support as always. If there's anything I can do to support you, let me know. I thank you for being here. And until next time, I will see you later. Hope you enjoy your day.